I cannot believe that we have to wait another 8 or 9 months until we get Season 4 of My Hero Academia. I, like many other viewers, am so incredibly hyped for the Overhaul arc, as well as seeing Midoriya continue to grow into a hero on the same level as All Might. But while we wait for that, I'd like to discuss some of the thematic through lines of this last arc. So, if you haven't seen all of Season 3, this is your spoiler warning. All set? Okay, let's jump into this. So, the Provisional Hero License Exams. Compared to the previous arcs with All for One and the 1,000,000% Smash, this one seemed pretty mundane. We get teased pretty hard that Deku is going to square off with Gang Orca, only for the exams to end right as they clash. While it was pretty disappointing to see such a decrease in stakes, this arc certainly doesn't hold anything back when it comes to character development. So let's start by looking at Deku. Our favorite hero, with glass bones and paper skin, has just developed a new fighting style and acquired some new equipment as well. Shoot style, along with his arm braces and his metal leg guards. He understands that All Might has no power left, and the time is quickly approaching where he must pick up the mantle of Symbol of Peace. To make good on his promise to All Might, and best help the world around him, Deku must get this license. He needs to pass the exam. And that's it for him. He has no character arc here because he's not conflicted about anything. He's found a way to be a hero, just like All Might wants, while keeping his body safe and in one piece, just like his mom wants. All that's left for him is to work really hard and apply all that he has learned. In this way, he is a reflection of All Might. Toshinori lived out his life as a hero in a very simple way. Save as many people as possible, and project a symbol of peace that people can believe in and villains will fear. It's obviously not a very big stretch to say that Deku is a thematic reflection of All Might. That's kind of the central plot of the whole story. No, where this becomes interesting is how this relates to Bakugo. Ah yes, the hedgehog-haired, explosive psychopath himself, Katsuki Bakugo. It was made pretty clear after their rematch that both Deku and Bakugo possess part of what makes All Might the #1 hero. Deku has the selfless drive to protect others and make the world a better place, while Bakugo holds in him the burning desire to be the undisputed best. And I think the main takeaway from their fight was that, yes, they can push each other as rivals now, but more importantly, they both need to learn from each other and try to emulate the other's positive traits. Deku needs to be more assertive, less emotional, and more willing to stand atop the world as the best. Bakugo needs to learn how to shape his desire to win into his desire to do good for others. Until then, Bakugo will never be a hero, but instead just a really strong guy. But if we rewind to before this fight happened, where was Bakugo's character? He was pissed. Angry at the fact that he had been captured. Angry at the fact that he wasn't strong enough to save himself, that his peril led to the end of All Might's power. From his perspective, he has been internationally embarrassed 3 times in a row. First, the incident where he was attacked by the sludge monster and saved by the quirkless Deku. His weakness was broadcasted everywhere, especially since All Might ended up saving him in the end. After this, he understandably wanted to prove his strength to the world, and the sports festival was the perfect time to do it. And then, to his dismay, the only other kid in his class who could give him a serious challenge, son of the #2 hero, refused to fight him at full strength. In his eyes, the victory was a sham. He was handed the win without earning it, and yet again it was broadcasted for the whole entire world to see. This would be enough to put him on edge, of course, but it only gets worse from here. At summer camp, where he could finally get away from the prying eyes of the public and build himself up to be strong enough to prove them all wrong, he gets kidnapped. His weakness is obvious. He can't beat the villains that are taking him away. He isn't even strong enough to stop them or to run away. And cherry on top of all of this, when he finally does escape their clutches, it's due to the efforts of Deku, and at the cost of All Might's power. And again, it's all over the news. Everyone saw that he got captured. Everyone knows that All Might's final fight was in trying to get Bakugo back home. For someone with a clear inferiority complex, it's no wonder he's so curt with people all the time. In his eyes, everyone thinks he's a laughingstock. At every single turn, he has the chance to show his strength ripped away from him, and he has it televised to the whole world. Now, none of this is said to condone his actions. Bakugo is a dick, and the way that he treats Deku is unacceptable, but that's exactly what I want to focus on. The way Bakugo treats Deku is a mirror image of Endeavor. Let me explain. Endeavor perceives being number 2 as weakness. He absolutely hates that All Might is more powerful than him, and he hates that the number 1 spot is so far out of reach. All he wants is for the world to know his strength and give him praise for it, but every time All Might shows him up, he views it as a display of his own weakness. Sound familiar? Hell, look at the way he reacts when All Might's weakened form is exposed to the public. The first thing Endeavor does is chastise him about it. This isn't out of some care for All Might's image. We know full well that Endeavor doesn't like him as a person. No, Endeavor is upset about All Might's tiny form because of how it casts its shadow. If Endeavor can't even overcome this little twig of a man, what does that say about him and his strength? It makes him, as the number 2 hero, look even weaker. Endeavor and Bakugo are so similar that it's almost a little scary. They have the exact same mentality. All that matters is being the best. Being the indisputable number 1 hero is the ultimate goal that must be achieved at all costs. Endeavor even gets pissed when number 1 is handed to him, just like Bakugo. Remember after All Might stepped down from hero work and Endeavor became the default number 1 hero? Shoto found that he had completely trashed his home gym in anger. This is just like how Bakugo spazzed out after being handed the gold medal at the sports festival. And if you're wondering why they act this way, it's like I said before, they both have a crazy inferiority complex. They worry and scrutinize over those around them thinking that they are not good enough. If they wanted to achieve the number 1 spot simply out of an internal desire to be the best, Endeavor wouldn't hate All Might, and Bakugo wouldn't be so vocal about how he's clearly the best. Also, they both represent a textbook inferiority complex in another way. They project their inferiority onto others. Bakugo is constantly putting down Deku. He endlessly points out how he's quirkless, how he's weak, and will never amount to anything. This is just Bakugo rationalizing in his head that because Deku is these things, and he is not Deku, then he can't be those things. We see this with Endeavor, at least a little bit. Yes, he wants a child who can surpass All Might, but he also made it a point to so completely and totally project his feelings of weakness onto little Shoto, who is only 5 years old. All of his other children are worthless to him, because these are feelings he thinks might be true about himself. He might be weak or worthless, so he projects it onto his kids. And if you don't believe that Endeavor and Bakugo are cut from the same cloth, why not ask someone who knows Endeavor better than anyone else? Shoto. In the sports festival, sorry I keep bringing it up, Todoroki respects Deku. He respects his power, sure, but more importantly, his will. He has respect for Deku as a person, in the exact same way he respects and wants to emulate All Might. On the flip side, Todoroki doesn't respect Bakugo. He feels no need to use his full power, even if it costs him the tournament, because he has as much respect for Bakugo as he does for his father. In his eyes, both are power-obsessed monsters who shouldn't get what they want. And he's kind of right. But let's talk about Todoroki for a minute. He has the most prominent arc in the provisional license exam, one that overlaps with Inasa. It's clear that he too wants to be the best, and he doesn't intentionally want to be enemies with Inasa. No, a lot of that animosity is due to how much of a dick Endeavor was to Inasa, but Shoto put the final nail in the coffin when they first interacted. See, Shoto's not a prick, but he is motivated by anger just like Bakugo. He hates his father. He wants to be better than his father, and he wants to do it on his own, so that his father will never have his dream of being number 1 fulfilled. It's a petty desire, but his emotions are justified. He has suffered a lot at the hands of that man. This arc is where he learns that maybe his goal should be a more noble one. It's where he realizes that while his eyes are set on the example of All Might, he's still following the path of Endeavor. Ideologically, he's split down the middle. Would you look at that? He needs to train because of a compassion and a desire to do better for the world, not out of a hatred for his father. There are clearly two examples of what it means to be a hero, All Might and Endeavor. And the two that didn't get their provisional licenses were following the example of Endeavor. Deku and the rest of Class 1A passed because they were following the example of All Might. These two failed to get their license because they didn't pass the exam, but more so because they fundamentally were not heroes. At least not yet. And there you go. Those are my thoughts on the provisional license arc of My Hero Academia. What did you think of my armchair psychology? Did I get things right, or was I way off base? Let me know down in the comments, or tell me directly on Twitter at BewareTweets. You can follow me there to hear my stupid ramblings, or if you want occasional updates on the videos that I'll be putting out in the future. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon. That's it for me. Until next time, stay frosty.